Last year's Nobel Peace Prize honored Malala Yousafzai and Kailash Satyarthi for their work in advocating for equal access to education and improving youth rights in South Asia. The media's response to the award highlighted global interest in education reform. Following this momentum, I went to Austin, Texas for South by Southwest 2 weeks ago. South by Southwest is a set of film, music, interactive, and education conferences. Interestingly, both the interactive and education panels discuss new potential solutions to creating sustainable change within education. During these panels, programs like Khan Academy, which is a nonprofit organization that creates micro-lectures and supplemental materials for free and distribute them on digital platforms, and Leapfrog, which creates technology-based games that aid in education, were emphasized. This showed that globally, people shared my interest in figuring out how to achieve equal access to education through tech and new media. When I talk about new media, I'm talking about the channels of mass communication facilitated by digital technologies. When these panels were discussing about education reform, they would say things and present global and national figures. For example, in India, 93% of children are receiving an education. That sounds like a very encouraging and great figure, but when you look at what 7% means, in a country like India that holds the world's largest youth population, it reveals that 25 million children are not receiving an education. To put that in perspective, New York City has a population of 8.4 million people. That means the number of children not receiving an education in India is equivalent to 3 times the population of New York City, which is absurd. And when we're talking about this, we're not even talking about the quality of education. The newly elected minister in charge of education, Smriti Irani, has said that now, going forward, she's concerned with evolution. She wants to create a knowledge-based economy and help India thrive that way. In many ways, this echoes philosopher John Dewey, who is considered one of the most influential figures of modern Western education. He believed that the purpose of education is to create innovation, and innovation is what sustains society. And to get to that place in society, everyone deserves a right to education. So when we're talking about education reform, we're really talking about government-run public primary schools, because this is where most children are going to school, as well as this is where we see some of the nation's toughest challenges. But as we talk about the challenges, we cannot neglect the progress that the Indian government has made. For example, they have now made a huge initiative to create new buildings, which means that now most of the rural population are within a 15 to 20-minute walk to a primary school. And this has shown that now there's little difference by gender in enrollment rates. Additionally, they've included new initiatives, such as the midday meal plan, where they provide a free meal every day of the school week, as well as clean drinking water they might not find in their own community. By creating a safe, habitable space, enrollment has been increased by 20%. But it's not just about the infrastructure, it's about results. Right now, half of students enrolled in the 5th grade are reading at a 2nd grade level. The number of students who are leaving primary school with inadequate numeracy and literacy skills is startling, and that is where we need to focus our attentions in. So now my question is, how do we implement new media technologies to reach India's education goals? To answer this question, we must understand the cultural and social barriers to education. While there are a host of factors, and these factors are complicated and interconnected, we can look to 3 main issues: linguistic diversity, high teacher absenteeism, and infrastructure. These are only 3 of the factors, but what we are looking for with new media is to mitigate the effects of these factors. With linguistic diversity, it poses a unique challenge to India. With 22 official languages and hundreds of spoken dialects, it becomes very difficult to approach homogenized education, especially when teachers are being brought in from different communities. That means that there's no similarity in language between the teacher, the student, and the learning materials. Perhaps new media can facilitate translation or pose new solutions that maintain the cultural integrity but still improve education. With high teacher absenteeism, a recent study showed that on any given day, 25% of primary school teachers were marked absent. In most schools, there's about 3 teachers working at any given time, and they're expected to perform a myriad of tasks, such as running government programs such as immunization clinics, or running national census, and even cleaning the facilities. maybe new media can help alleviate the responsibilities of these teachers. And with infrastructure, only 86% of schools have an actual building. Half of them have a girls' bathroom, and only 32% have electricity. Additionally, when we're talking about internet and new media, how do we expect them to be connected to the internet when they don't have access to basic electricity? One of the programs that has had the most success integrating technology and education is One Laptop Per Child. They state their mission is to empower the poorest of children through education. They have created a laptop and a tablet pre-installed with applications, books, and videos, and they attempt to target 3 to 12-year-olds and develop their numeracy and literacy skills. Since their beginning, they found a lot of success in their base Miami and has since been successful globally in countries like Rwanda and Peru. But when they came to India, the initiative was rejected. The government said that they could not accommodate the expenditure of this scale when basic needs aren't being met. Going back to the cultural barriers to education, it becomes clear in a nation that has the largest number of starving children, how do they justify spending money on new technology? What has become clear to me is that the problems of sanitation, hunger, and education are mutually reinforcing. To combat any requires an acknowledgement of all. Does new media and tech no longer have a place when these figures are being presented? Without belittling the possibility of tech and how it has improved India's government and economy, we should see where will resources best be used to create the most impactful and sustainable change. Thank you.